Hey Laura, so happy to have you on. I'm excited
Thank you
for
so
you.
much for having me.
I'm excited for you to be here today with us. And can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. My name is Laura Pike Seeley. I am the Knowledge Program Manager at HKS Inc., which is a leading global architecture and design firm. And our knowledge program, which I manage, it's dedicated to helping our firm understand what we know, what we need to know, and who knows what, and delivering those insights through our digital workplace environment. So I spend a lot of my time on alignment, process improvement, content development, and relationship building, all in support of our firm's various initiatives. And these initiatives include helping our firm lead with knowledge, on elevating our project design and delivery, and on improving the employee experience.
Very cool. And I'm excited to dive in deeper there. But first, I want to recognize that many people who are watching this today, they are looking to get their first step into their knowledge management career. And for them, they're like, oh, I work as a technical writer or I work as a documentation specialist. And they're trying to find that bridge. What was that bridge for you? And can you walk us through your journey of how you got your first role in knowledge management?
Absolutely. And I think people come to knowledge management from a variety of roles. A lot of times it's maybe they have a lot of experience in their industry and move into it. But for me, I've just had a lifelong interest in people and ideas and technology. And my background is actually in library and information science. And ultimately, I decided to study library and information science because I realized that learning how to effectively organize information is a way for me to help others make better sense of the world and to connect the things they need to find. So I worked in a number of library and archives roles over the years, and I found my way to knowledge management because at its core, it's about the way people work, the ideas they have, and the technology that is used to help improve their effectiveness and their working experience as knowledge workers. But for how it actually happened, so after grad school, I ended up working in a public library, didn't really feel like the right fit. I took on the role of design librarian and archivist at a fashion and retail company that's headquartered here in Dallas. And toward the end of my 6 years there, I started working a lot in our intranet environment to provide competitive intelligence support. So looking at the industry and our competitors. So when I was ready to move on, I just actually searched the word intranet into job listing sites and I found this position at HKS. So my first title was intranet content manager, and pretty quickly I moved into the role of knowledge manager and then into the program manager role about a year and a half ago.
Very cool. And can you walk us through some of what it takes to land a job? Because it sounds like, you have this path that you've taken, but to enable the skills and also just the ability to be successful on the job, what does that look like?
Yeah, good question. For me, as I was just getting started in this field, I really benefited from conferences. KM World is a really good one. There's one called Digital Workplace Experience that I like a lot. I also just read a lot of books on employee experience, on workplace culture, change management, communication, innovation, and more to really get me in that mindset. I love Adam Grant, for example. I built relationships within my firm and the broader industry, also connected to other knowledge managers, especially new ones. And I began speaking and publishing on the topic of digital workplace and employee experience. So the last thing that was really important for me as I started in this field is just understanding the business of architecture, which is the field I found myself in kind of by chance, right? It's just important for anyone in CAM to understand that the industry, the company, the organization that you find yourself within.
Makes a lot of sense. And then um, I'm sure that some of those things also go into enabling continued success as well. But if you had to highlight maybe one or two things that really help with your continued success within the field of knowledge management, what are those things?
It's a good question. I think it's really understanding the user. So anything around user experience design. So thinking about discovery and things like that really help. The other area I would say is just thinking about the information of organizations. So taxonomy and ontology development. So thinking about metadata and how you describe the resources you're trying to help people find. So those are really important, I think, on the technical side. And then just personally, I know my role, and for a lot of knowledge managers, there are a lot of soft skills that are important to really build up, things like patience, the ability to lead through influence, and just being able to do a lot of active listening.
And now I want to go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into your day-to-day role and what that looks like and lessons that people can take away from it. So one of the big things is that people step in this role with not a lot of experience. They may have read a few books, worked as a documentation specialist or a technical writer, or maybe another similar position. And now they're in this knowledge management position where they're likely dealing with more stakeholders and stepping up and having to be a leader. And they're going to face some challenges. So what are some challenges that they can prepare for, and how would they be able to solve those?
I think the biggest one, true for a lot of fields, is change resistance and change fatigue, right? Change really is the only constant. And many people find that really invigorating. Other people find it really draining. I think that change should be led from a place of empathy. It should really be framed as a service to the people we're inspiring to change. It's not an attempt to correct their deficits. Another thing I think a lot about in terms of obstacles and hurdles is the topic of information overload. How can we make sure the teams we're serving are informed and educated and feel connected, while also minimizing all the noise that keeps them from achieving focus and flow state, which is what they really want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another obstacle you'll find in KM is knowledge hoarding. So you may encounter employees who hoard knowledge and resources, either out of a fear of losing their job or a desire to maintain their exclusive expertise. One other thing that comes up a lot, I think, is lack of organizational alignment. And this can drive a lot of that change fatigue. It can make it hard to understand the priorities that the KM function needs to support. So with all of those, I think overcoming those requires really focusing on building relationships with the stakeholders at every level, from the people who are impacted day to day to the leadership who can help support you. It's a lot about implementing really effective change management strategies. And of course, using technology to really streamline your processes, always thinking about how you can help make people's day-to-day work easier. Knowledge managers have to think a lot about how they can be champions of communication and collaboration, and also identify other champions and lift them up. Really at the end of the day, it's not so much about technology here as it really is about people and culture and relationships.
Yeah, it sounds like, there's a huge focus on relationships and also a huge focus on organization. And when it comes to organization and relationships, I'm sure it's not just you, and you have some tools at your disposal that you're working with to help streamline your workflow, whatever it may be. What are some of the tools that you rely on that really help you to achieve your work goals?
Yeah. And sometimes the specific tools can be incidental, but there's some tools that can really help just support you in your work. A big one, and probably the bread and butter of knowledge managers, is intranet management platforms. So an intranet's just a private network within an enterprise that's used to share information and resources with the employees. There's usually content management component, permissions and user access control, search engine, document management, all of that, and it really drives the knowledge capture and access. So it's something that you work in a lot. Our team uses SharePoint. We administer our SharePoint-based intranet, which is a really powerful tool. We also layered on some custom development to achieve the outcomes and the user experience that we're specifically aiming for here. Another thing I recommend to everyone, but especially to knowledge managers, is our personal knowledge management tools that really help you organize your own thinking. So think about tools like Notion or MIM or Roam. There's a book called Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. It's a good place to start learning about personal knowledge management and thinking about how you can take a step back and apply that to an enterprise. There's also tools that support agile work. That's something that's very important to our team. I mentioned taxonomy and ontology, so tools that help you manage that can be really critical. We really like Miro for flexible mind mapping. That's a good thing to get to know. Of course, communication and collaboration tools, because that's really the foundation of knowledge. Knowledge is powerful when it's shared and challenged and refined, because that's when knowledge really becomes an insight that can promote action. So helping to support collaboration through those tools is important to us. Other tools might include things like digital asset management tools, project management tools, CRMs, content or client relationship management platforms, and then anything in the Adobe Creative Suite and Microsoft 365 product family are things I pretty much use every day.
Wow, a lot of tools there. And I'll go ahead and make sure to list them in the description below this video. So if you are watching this video, make sure to go ahead and go down the description and the tools will be linked there to make them easier to get a hold of. And you mentioned a lot of things that I haven't heard before, but I've heard elsewhere, such as building a second brain. And I think a number of people don't know about those type of resources that are entering into knowledge management. And I think one of the things that you said, which I'd like to highlight, is the idea of understanding how to do knowledge management for yourself. And then also, if you understand that, it's going to give you some, I would say, adeptness at installing it for an organization. And yeah, I don't think a lot of people think about that.
Yeah, like a little test ground for yourself, really starting to understand how you think about the way you organize your work. And also knowing that everyone manages it a little bit differently. I love to see how other people just manage their email inbox. Sometimes I ask people that because I'm just curious. It's so interesting to know that people seek information and organize their own working content in so many different ways. And that's always good to be aware of too.
And I know with this, also I want to talk about the future of knowledge management, because I know there's a whole wave of AI that people are talking about and a lot more. And one of the big things that affects is documentation, SOPs, and also how people communicate with each other. Would love to hear your thoughts on where the future of knowledge management is going and what that looks like.
Yeah, you called out a big one, right? The future of KM is really going to be that combination of leveraging those advanced technologies and just really championing and relying on our own human expertise to improve the ways we help people work. So yeah, AI, machine learning, I think they're going to profoundly impact things around content development, metadata generation, resource delivery, and on and on. Organizations will be able to automate tasks like cataloging and data analysis, and that's going to improve the quality and the speed of our decision making. But I just say don't sleep on the human element here. AI can't make decisions; it can only inform them. It lacks emotional intelligence and nuance. It's not flexible or adaptable in the way that humans are. It can't establish strategies that are sensitive to an organization's brand and the relationships within it. It's not capable of true innovation. Those are just some of the reasons why the human element is so critical. But it can help us think about things like AI can help us think about things like personalization. The amount of information that's available to us grows exponentially constantly, right? And we know that knowledge delivery is going to have to be more personalized to meet individual needs in the face of all of that growing information and all of those resources. So thinking about things like recommendation engines, personalized learning paths, tools that can really help us tailor content recommendations to every person based on, their interests, their experience, their learning styles. And then lastly, I would just mention too, just continuing to think about collaboration support in an age of hybrid and remote work. We have to continue thinking about how we bust silos, especially for organizations that are distributed across practices, matrix, organizations that have offices all over the globe. Just thinking about how we can continue to support collaboration and communication and that connection in a world of changing work behaviors.
Yeah, it's so interesting. There's so many different facets of knowledge management that it can help you with technology and the new technology that's coming out, and it's going to apply different to every organization. Like you had mentioned, if you have a global organization, what does it look like for that compared to a more localized organization?
True.
Yeah, there's a lot of different challenges that people are going to go through, and I'm excited to all the learnings that are going to come out. One things I'd love for you to dive into, and I know you can't always give specifics here, just based on the company that you work at, but some of your favorite projects that you've worked on and that you felt like you were able to push over the line.
A really important one we did recently was really a wholesale, I would call it just a renovation of our digital workplace environment, focusing on giving our intranet really a big stylistic facelift, but also in terms of our functionality. So I talked about SharePoint. About a year and a half ago, we layered on a lot of custom development that really elevated our ability to provide information resources in really modular ways. So we have all these new web parts that are really powerful and really customized to the way that our employees seek out information. That was a really great project that I think would be a great experience to have at any organization. But since I work in the AEC industry in architecture, one thing I've really enjoyed learning about is how we support design thinking and design strategies for a more sustainable and resilient future. So our firm looks at things like the frameworks published by the American Institute of Architects and how they are promoting better, more sustainable, resilient design, and thinking about how we bring in information about those strategies and about those frameworks, while also at the same time really bringing to the forefront the HKS point of view, has been a really fun project. I love being able to, within that project, within that effort, really focus on how we can celebrate our internal thought leadership, because I think that gives us a competitive advantage. But I also think it's a really important element of the employee experience, that people who are innovative and writing and publishing, that we celebrate them. So those are a couple of kind of parallel things that we've been working on for the past couple of years that I think have been really fun and powerful.
That's amazing to hear. And for many of the people watching, their goal is to be able to push projects over the line just like that one. And still, many of them are starting their first job in knowledge management. And for them to be successful, to have that continuation, what are some things that you'd recommend that they focus on in their first few critical months when they're really getting evaluated for fit for this company and for this position?
Yeah. I think that when you're first starting somewhere, especially because knowledge managers tend to go sometimes across industries. I'm in AEC now, but I could just as easily be in oil and gas or law. So really starting to think about yourself as a generalist who can listen to the people within your organization, so you can start to get a grasp conceptually on the challenges they're facing in the workplace. So I think to be successful in KM, it's important to be a learner, someone who constantly learns and is constantly open to new ideas and listening to other people. I think that as you do that, you also start to understand, again, the challenges that the organization is facing. What are the most strategic goals? What are the things that you can really support? And really how you can focus on making the employee experience better is by listening and through alignment. And sometimes that can be a really big challenge for knowledge managers. Lack of organizational alignment really feeds into that change fatigue, like we talked about. So getting to a place where you are embracing yourself as a learner, and also taking a big step, looking at the big picture and understanding how you can support your organization and the people working there.
And let's say if you were to start expanding your knowledge management team tomorrow, and we have everybody excited that they're going to go ahead and execute well their first several months on the job, and they want to go ahead and start interviewing, what would you look for if you were interviewing for someone to join your team? What are some of the skills and attributes that would stand out to you?
Yeah. I think for me, maybe above all else, someone who enters this field has to care about people and about making their working lives better. I think without that genuine passion for people, you're going to struggle to find meaning or really make an impact. Sometimes when I interview people, I will ask them about their email inbox. And sometimes I think that's a gotcha question. But for me, it's just a way to see if they can articulate how they think about information and work and how it can be organized. Because, if organizing is your jam, this field might be right for you. You have to really love creating order and clarity from chaos. And sometimes kind of helping our team understand how the people we're interviewing approach their work, and organizing it is a helpful way to kind of understand that. I like to really find people who are energized by vexing challenges, people who have that kind of a diplomat heart, who really like to see all sides of something and can really be patient with other people. So a lot of different varied things, but I also, when I'm interviewing, for me, it's very important to find people who do think differently than me. I think that's a big challenge for hiring managers. I think sometimes people try to bring people onto their team and they're really focused on cultural fit and on finding somebody who they feel like they gel well with. But I also look for somebody who can challenge me a little bit, who brings something new, who brings new thinking and can really reinvigorate our thought processes. And I think that's important for any hiring manager to challenge themselves to think about, bringing on people who think differently than they do.
Yeah, I think just like you said, important to bring somebody on who's maybe challenge the way that you think already. And that helps spur new ideas and inspiration. Now, I know we covered a lot here in this interview. Is there any other advice that you'd want to give to people entering the knowledge management world and how they can succeed on the job?
Yeah, I think practicing patience. When you're in a role that requires that you lead change, mostly through influence, right? You have to be prepared to be challenged. You have to be prepared to for people to be frustrated and to offer resistance, and you have to be able to empathize with people who struggle to adapt to new ways of working. It can be very challenging, but if you can't empathize with that mindset, it's going to be frustrating. And just know that this field is kind of nebulously defined. It's constantly evolving. I think if you're a true knowledge manager at heart, you're going to thrive in the kind of newness and change in that environment. And this is obviously true for any field, any role, but just building a network. I'm personally always happy to meet people who are entering the field. There are a lot of knowledge sharing and community of practices, different groups that you might want to look into. The SIKM Leaders Community, and I can share that with you. That's a great place for learning, connection, conversation. There's some great groups on LinkedIn, conferences like KM World, just great to get out there and make connections. And again, the importance of diversity of thought, challenging yourself and talking to people even within the field who think a little differently than you.
Very cool. Well, Laura, I want to thank you so much for being here with us today. You offered so many resources and a lot of great advice to help many of the people listening and watching to take their first step and take it successfully in their new knowledge management career. And we're going to go ahead and rock and roll from here. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful.